We're okay? All right. I did speak to the traffic engineer, specifically about some of the things we talked about. Moving the curb back, eliminating that half a lane or whatever that was over there, you know, he felt was a great idea. He did feel that there is a problem with the two lanes of the two exit-only lanes. He feels that the cars on the east are going to block the view of the cars to the west of that. So his recommendation was to either have it, you know, one lane only, or to eliminate that altogether. That was the traffic engineer's assessment. So I just wanted to make you aware of that.
I think it's critical to goodwill from a shopper and donor convenience to have more than the one entry onto the site via the signalized intersection. If we were to, at a minimum, I'd prefer to leave the width there, and maybe we can work with, again, have another conversation with the traffic department and figuring out a good solution there, maybe even maintaining the right in, right out, rather than reducing the access point there. But at a minimum, we would like to maintain that access point, at least as an egress point.
No, I don't think that would be a problem. Yeah, his recommendation was make it one if possible. And as we talked in the planning commission meeting, it wasn't, we were thinking along the lines of something that wasn't going to eliminate that curbing there. It was more or less, you know, something that we could do that with some kind of visual, not signage, quick curb or something along those lines that could be utilized instead of eliminating that curb and extending the curb, I should say.
Okay, yeah, I think we're open to that and continuing the conversation to find a good solution there.
Mr. Dijon.
Thank you, Madam President. As you know, I initially voted no on this, and to further study it, I did go out to your Painesville store. It's a very nice store, and
Thank you.
as I understand it, this store will look pretty similar to that store. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is an interesting store. First off, it's a Walgreens, and those aren't nice to start with. And so one of the things that they did when they originally constructed this store is they used a really nice masonry product on the base of the building, but as it went up and then it hit that ephes or stucco portion where there's a sort of an overhang and then it goes up to create their sign wall, they transitioned from that nice masonry to just your typical gray CMU. So when we take that portion of the building off, we're left with gray CMU exposed. So Ben's doing a fantastic job of studying that to figure out what we can do to cover that, to start to blend that building and create a more almost pedestrian scale to it, with punched openings for windows and maybe some faux openings in the exterior that still have the canopy on it that might allude to a window. I think we've got those here, right? So here's a view. This is, can you zoom out a little bit, please? This is very preliminary. We're still going through a lot of cost studies and technical feasibility on this, but what we're anticipating is up top where that gray CMU is, to actually do an ephes product up there that would cover that up, but instead of having one large horizontal band which essentially splits the building equally top and bottom, we're thinking of creating a rhythm on the facade, again with these openings for windows and implied windows, and then Ben's done a masterful job of including these pilasters, which would be a brick masonry. It's called thin brick, right? Thin brick that would be applied to the face of the existing building, and then weave up into the top of the building. So again, you get this sort of module on there, and then at the corner of the building, we would use that same material to tie it all together and create this anchor, this tower on the corner, to really visually weight the building, and then use canopies to imply entry on the south side, but then have a larger canopy on the east face where the main entry would be. So we're getting there. It's taking a little bit of time, but I think we're headed in the right direction to provide you, yes, that quality building.
You do know that we have an ordinance in the city that you have to put your signage over the entrance door.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? What are you
This
gonna
is preliminary here. We have an issue with, again, how we're addressing that, and so as we evolve the design, we need visibility on Mayfield Road, but again, as we put the entry towards the parking on the east, we need to work through that, and I think right here, what we're showing right here, the Smiling G logo, I also think that's non-compliant at the moment, so we're continuing to study that and work through some of these issues, but thank you for bringing that up.
And I thank you for putting the plantings back by the loading dock there to try to shield the view from the apartments there. The compactor, will that only be used, is that used minimally, or is it used, several times a day, or?
Yeah, so the compactor back at the loading dock, so the building addition will stop short and we'll have a chute coming out the side. That's probably used a couple times a day, and really what it is there's a pre-crusher unit in front of the bin, or the container, and so as that fills up, they'll run that. That's all self-contained within its own enclosure, so no trash will be exposed or have the ability to escape to the exterior. Everything that either leaves the site via a truck trailer or this waste compactor, but minimal amount goes through that compactor. So short answer to your question, maybe a couple times a day. I think you're headed towards how loud is that, and given the masonry screen wall, the enclosure, and then the landscaping around there, there'll be minimal impact to the surrounding properties.
And will you point out to the council how the tractor trailer drops off the trailer at the loading dock?
Yeah, great.
And that trailer there will always be a trailer there, so they can load it up with.
So the way that we operate is we're anticipating tractor trailer traffic entering the site at the signalized intersection, again moving up and traffic along the north side of the site, nosing out here, and then backing into the loading dock. So there will always be one trailer on site that they're continually filling with all the salvage and recycled goods, because not every donation is going to go out the front door in a sale. Unfortunately, we have to think of other ways to handle that. So some of that stuff goes out as garbage. And then other things that we do a lot of computer recycling, a lot of metal recycling, a lot of clothing that's not of quality to resale. We will take and we will bundle, and then we have other venues for selling that product. When we restudied this scenario down here, we found that we were running into a conflict with the truck traffic. So Ben and his team right now are looking at how do we study. We may end up losing a few of these parking spaces over here, of which we're over parked at the moment. We're required on site to have 81 spaces. We currently have 143. And so what we'll end up doing is we'll send the trucks out back the same way they came. And that's actually better than what we were doing previously with bringing them this way, because it's a more direct route to the signalized intersection, a cleaner turning radius.
Thank you, Mr. Dijon. Mr. Monaco.
By looking at your site plan, I'm also kind of concerned about the lack of landscaping in the front. When a new business comes in, this is the time when we look for the property to be enhanced, and especially along Mayfield Road. The way I see it is there's plenty of opportunities to do something really nice. And as you said, this is one of the gateways to our city. And when you drive in or drive around it, we would like to see something that's, it's got some nice trees, nice landscaping. And the way this is drawn, I honestly think that could be improved quite a bit. One of the first question that I have is, you only gonna have one truck parked at a time in the lot? You're not gonna have 2 or 3 trucks just sitting there?
Correct. There'll only be one truck there, except for that time where they're doing what's called a hook and drop, where they're dropping a trailer and then picking up the other one to leave.
The second question is, what is the size of your parking spaces? The individual parking spots?
Sorry. They're existing, so all of that's existing parking spaces. I believe they are about 9 by 18.
Okay.
I-
Because if they're 9 by 20, you could possibly gain 2 feet on each one of those for a total of 14 feet. And if you move those back, you could have a nice 14 feet buffer in the front along Mayfield Road where you can really do something nice with trees and shrubbery and
I would point out the dimension on the front of Mayfield. I don't have it scaled, but it appears to be very steep. I'm sorry. The distance between Mayfield Road and our actual parking is rather deep, and we're actually increasing that per the comments last week. So we will have a very substantial green band between Mayfield Road and our parking area. So even without shrinking down the parking spaces, we are increasing the green space, and there's plenty out there, in our opinion.
greens, trees. That's what we like to see.
I'd just like to reiterate, we're hearing these comments, and we'll do our best to address them. When we study a site, we look at the investment that we can afford to make in here. Like I said, we're paying market rate. We are putting a substantial investment into this building. I think I can speak frankly, right now that building's a dog, and it's even worse as an abandoned vacant dog. And what we're trying to do is really take that building, and for those of you that aren't aware, you're on the news in the morning when they show the traffic cameras. I mean, this is an opportunity for us to really take that building, and I understand your comments about landscape, but if we can invest in the building and invest in the interior of the space, again, accomplishing our prototypical mainstream retailer aesthetic, then the one image that we didn't show, Ben had flipped to it, was we're hoping to turn the corner here. Right now, Walgreens really turns its back on the freeway. We're hoping to turn the corner again with those implied windows and that patterning of pilasters and awnings. So again, you get this anchoring of that corner of the building where people are going to be seeing that as they go on the freeway and they come through underneath the 271 overpass. So in order to accomplish that, we really have to balance our construction budget. But I do not want to say we're not going to do any planting out there. We'll look to see what we can accomplish, but I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver here.
Thank you.
I have a question. I'd like to know the width of your, of the stacking area under your canopy. It looks like you have 10 cars in that area, 5 and 5. What is the width, and do you or will you have employees that can take care of those stacking cars? Or do you have only one person that's going to come out to get the goods and bring
Great
them
question.
in?
During we have the ability to, based on past donation patterns, and we collect that data so we understand how effective we are on site. We know when there's peaks and valleys of donations, and in the spring when there's a lot of house cleaning on Saturday mornings, you might find 3 or 4 different attendants there as those, and that's why we have such a large queue. We also put a double lane in so that in the event that somebody's parked there for quite some time and they've got a lot that they're donating, other people can circulate around them to exit that donor drive. So
What is the
the-
width of that drive?
21 feet. Typically see for drive-throughs.
Thank you. Mr. DeJohn?
Are you at all concerned about the entrance and versus those people leaving that area under the canopy?
Yeah, great question. We at all of our locations at the exit of a donation drive, we'll put a stop bar that's painted on the ground right here. We'll also have signage, a stop sign on the 2 ends of the islands, so donors do stop, treat it as a traffic intersection, look both ways, and then and that's why again we segregate the traffic and put this curb in to push the cars back out into the lane so that they have to deliberately pull out in the the shoppers.
But you don't normally build your stores like that, right?
Also,
You don't normally build your stores like that, though.
yeah, typically,
I noticed that the Painesville store wasn't like that. It was on the other side there.
right, we had the entry facing Menor Ave, and then the donor canopy was on the side of the building. Here, because of the parking, we've turned, I mean, this is almost Painesville, right, when you look at it. Donor canopy on the side, main exposure on the main drive on the south side. The only difference here is that the parking field is off to the side, so we really want to address that parking and make it convenient to the shopper.
How long is your lease?
We invest in long-term leases, so right now we've got a 10-year base term, and I believe we have 4 or 5-year options. We're committed to this market and to this property. Again, we're investing what we consider a substantial amount of money in here, so we're going to see that return on investment.
And do you think your landlord or owner of this building would consider contributing to the front landscaping?
Oh, great question. That's something that we can, I've got a call set up with him for later this week. I can talk to him about that. And, I'm not sure if you've got a history with Mr. Munsell or not, but maybe in concert we can work something out.
We'll try to do that. Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes, thank you. I too have a problem with this exit, the 2 right exits. I did it 2 or 3 times. I did it at night. I did it in the morning. ODOT having those flags that extend you onto the freeway and then one off,
Right.
it does interfere with the right coming off where the signal is on the east side entrance. You've got 3 rights here. I
Correct,
would
yeah,
like
there's
to
the
see that
ability to go straight or turn right in the right
where
lane,
the
and the left
signal
lane's a
is.
left turn. Correct.
on the right, the east entrance, exit, everything's on the east. Maybe it would be easier if you had 1 lane.
Just a single lane. Yeah, I'd like to continue the conversation and see if we couldn't maintain the right in, right out. Then we're going back down to 1 lane. I think it's a real asset to the property, not just for goodwill, but for the future of the property too, to maintain that. Let's think about that. I'm definitely committed to reducing it from two lanes to 1 right turn egress. I'd like to leave the ingress component on the table then and see if we can't talk to your Department of Transportation and work through that.
Madam President?
Mayor?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we can continue the conversation with the traffic department and the traffic engineer, see what works best. And also, right now, this is just a preliminary site plan, so all these things that we're talking about now, the applicant has some time to adjust, talk to the traffic engineer, traffic department, see what we can figure out, and make some changes for the final site plan.
That'd be great.
One more. All your stores look very nice from the front. I too went to the Mayfield store, and that swing around coming in on that side of their building is very nice. They also have 1-floor residence behind with the masonry wall, but the building looks good from the front, and I think what they're saying is that we're looking at the side now that you move the front door. So, I'd like it to look nicer. Yeah, just need something. Can agree. That's on Mayfield. Your tower, your doors, everything.
I think Rob has some existing pictures here we can pull up.
Yeah. So just to contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Just to contrast, this is the existing. It really fades out. But again, it's got the singular piece running across the top with the signage on it, and then this clear story window, which is sort of scaleless, if you ask me. Here's the side that we're going to dress up.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, these are just the way I saved them on the folder from some time ago.
And we're where?
All right, let's see. So I guess the point is I think by introducing this this rhythm of the windows on the front, and yeah, maybe we can do something here in this middle bay to add a little bit more scale to that location. It sort of looks a little bit washed out here too in this image, but I think with the addition of the vertical elements and what Ben's done with the windows and the awnings, creating that pattern on there, we can really dress it up. So we'll take another look at that and see what we can do. I know we're excited to present this to ARB and see if we can't get some approval from them on the good work here.
Thank you.
Is there anything specific other than you just feel that this looks like the side of the building?
I didn't want it to look like Walgreens look.
Got it.
I wanted it to look different and nice, and
Okay,
you said, because it's on Mayfield Road.
absolutely.
Moving the door, you moved the difference, you made the difference.
Okay, Mr. DeJohn.
Yeah, thank you. And you do realize only one sign on the building, you do realize that?
Yeah, we're still working through that and studying that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time and the and all of the information. So this is a motion approving a preliminary site plan. Roll call on the motion to approve.
I guess I just have one question. So this is a preliminary, it still needs to come back to us for
Yes.
approval on a final.
Exactly.
Planning, okay. Thank you.
It went to planning, they wanted a preliminary, yes,
Yeah,
they
I-
did want a preliminary and a final, and planning decided that it should be just a preliminary
Yep.
approval, so that's what we're doing tonight, preliminary only. Roll call on the motion?
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mr. Mercurio?
Yes.
Mr. DeJohn?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes?
Mr. Monaco?
Yes.
Mr. Sharia?
Yes.
Mrs. Tressi?
Yes, this motion has been approved. Thank you, gentlemen. It is now 9 o'clock, and I would like to entertain a motion to recess into executive session. Do I have a motion? So moved by Mr. Mercurio, seconded by Mr. Monaco. Roll call on the motion.
Mr. DeJohn?
Yes.
Mr. Sharia?
Yes.
Mr. Monaco?
Yes.
Mr. Mercurio?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes?
Mrs. Tressi?
Yes, this motion is to discuss collective bargaining contracts in executive session. We will now move into executive session.